Hello dear students, in this particular video we're going to be talking about the encoding specificity effect. Three big words, perhaps rather strange, but once you hear them used the way I'm going to use them, you're going to end up feeling very comfortable with them. Let's take a look at the slide now. It's from the PowerPoint. So here we go, encoding specificity effect, and when we get done, you're going to see that there are two subtypes, namely the context effect, which I prefer to call the location effect, and then second, the mood effect. Now back to that three-word combination of terms, encoding specificity effect. If you think back to a slide that you remember from the PowerPoint or from another video, you know where the word encoding shows up. Let's take a look at it right now. I trust you can see the word encoding. It appears there in between short-term and long-term memory. You should remember from reading the text or from an earlier video that to move something from short-term to long-term memory, you have to encode it. So hang on to that knowledge of that word encoding for a moment, and we'll go back to our first slide. And now back to our keyword encoding. What this term means is that if you encode something in a certain specific situation, you'll remember more of that information at a later point in time if you are tested on it in the same specific situation. So take a look at the first one, the context or location effect. What this says is that if you study for a test in a certain room, you'll remember more of the items if you take the test in that same room. Let me now tell you about an interesting experiment done by a researcher, which is also described in your textbook. The professor took his students to the beach on a Saturday. He asked all the students to memorize a certain list of words. Then 15 minutes later, he asked them to recall those words, but he split the students into two groups and then treated them differently. Half the students took their test on the beach, the other half put on scuba gear and took their test underwater. Well, the group that took their test on the beach remembered more words. They were tested in the same specific situation they were in when they encoded the information. The next day, the psychologist asked all the students to learn a new list of words underwater. And then 15 minutes later, they're going to be tested again. And guess what happened this time? Yes, the group that learned their words underwater recalled more of their words underwater than did the group that learned their words underwater and then took their test on the beach. So take a look at our original slide again, encoding specificity effect, context effect, or location. If you learn something in a certain physical location, you'll remember more of it if you are asked to recall it in that same specific location. In sports, this is called the home field advantage. You practice on your home field, you want to play the big game against the other team on your home field as well. Now also take a look at the second entry there, the state or mood effect. If you learn something while you're in a certain mood or emotion, you'll remember more of it if you're in that same mood. Think back to the last time you were blue or depressed, and you remembered all the awful things that have ever happened to you in life. When you're in a great mood, those things are really hard to recall. I hope you're always in a great mood, or at least a lot. I hope you found this little lesson valuable. It's been a pleasure for me to make it for you. Have yourself a great day. Have a great psychology day.